You've probably heard the idea, maybe even felt the potential truth of it. But there's a piece of the puzzle that I think is still forming, something that Michael Talbot helped us glimpse, but didn't fully name. So let's go there today. Hi, I'm James. I work in neuroscience and neurotherapy, which means I work with how and what we think. But underneath of it, what I'm really interested in about how we think is, well, what is a thought anyway? What are they made of? This is the Quantified Soul, where we explore the intersection of consciousness, mathematics, and the brain. And today, we're going to build a bridge from Michael Talbot's seminal holographic universe to something deeper, a rational understanding of mind, light, and the structure of the universe itself as a hologram defined by pure mathematics. Michael Talbot proposed a radical possibility that the universe isn't made of things, but of relationships, of interference patterns. He suggested that every part contains the whole, and that what we call reality might be more like a hologram than a machine. It's an idea that really shook the boundaries of physics, neuroscience, and spirituality. And while it's often dismissed as pseudoscience, there's something about it that resonates deeply with many of us. And I still hear people reference his work all the time. And I believe that he was onto something. But without enough solid ground, it's remained a curiosity for all this time. You see, he built his thesis from empirical science, a lot of clues, and metaphysical stories. But that's not sound grounding. Today, we have the opportunity to revisit his vision from mathematical first principles. And maybe we can finally address the one question that he left open, which is, if the universe is a hologram, what's creating the waves that makes up that hologram? Ontological mathematics gives us a surprising answer to this riddle of a holographic universe. It's not a machine. It's not a single divine projector of this hologram. And it's definitely not an anthropomorphized universal mind exploring diversity. It's us, all of us, together, trying to evolve from chaos and disorder to greater coherence. Each soul is a wave generator. In fact, a perpetual wave generator. The thinking never stops. We're not just inside a hologram, we're constructing it moment by moment. In ontological mathematics, the soul is a singularity of eternal motion, and the tool that described this movement is Euler's formula. This is such an elegant formula. It's been called the jewel of physics and even proof of God. And what's neat is it's not just theoretical. It shows how motion, like the perpetual motion of thought itself, naturally generates sine and cosine waves. These aren't metaphors. It's not the universe is all vibration. Motion produces frequency. These are the vibrations that really form the foundation of existence. In a sense, they're kind of just the side effect of being, of thinking. Let's look closely at this diagram, though. There's two oscillations, perpendicular in perfect harmony. Wait a second, that looks like light. Light is the product of two perpendicular fields, electric and magnetic, oscillating together. Literally, scientifically, mathematically, this is light. So the soul, in its purest, most eternal form, does the same thing. One real wave, one imaginary wave. Orthogonal, self-contained, and eternal. That's why, in ontological mathematics, the soul isn't like light. It's not a metaphor. It is light. Mathematically, structurally, and fundamentally. But something happens to the soul that is light. At the moment of the Big Bang, which is not a physical explosion, it's a mental event, phase misalignment is introduced. The soul never changes, it shines eternally, but what we see projected into space is a distorted, phase-shifted version. You see, when these phases misalign, within a mind or between minds, interference is born. Some waves amplify, others cancel, and most just distort. What was once perfect mental motion becomes noise. And that noise, That's what we experience as matter. It's the physical world. It's basically broken light. All the soul can do, all any soul can do, its only power is to actualize different combinations of its constituent sinusoids, which are all modulated by phase. And from that interference pattern of these sinusoidal thoughts, our psyche is born. Each soul, each mind is vast. It's a mind of infinite patterns. In a very real way, each mind is a universe into itself. Just think of your dreams, your imagination, all the people and places that live in the privacy of your inner world. Now, as a neurotherapist, I'm constantly thinking about this and thinking about the interface between that vast mind and the brain. And here's what I've come to understand, thanks to ontological mathematics. The brain is not the self. It's a translation device. The brain itself is actually a collective artifact. It's not a one-to-one mapping to the soul. It's shaped by evolution, by language, by ancestry, by trauma. And so your brain is not yours alone. It's kind of borrowed and shared with the collective. And so when a soul incarnates, it doesn't arrive with a perfectly custom designed body. It connects like a plug fitting into a socket, into a nervous system that's already running this ancient inherited code. This incarnation process is kind of like a cosmic lottery. It's not random, and it's definitely not meaningless, but it's not precise either. And that means what we measure in the brain through EEG, that we train with neurofeedback, it isn't just your personal soul's output. It's really more of a composite signal. It's where your soul's thinking intersects with the collective and is filtered through the brain that's been gifted to you, right, by the collective. It's a blend of the individual, the collective, the eternal, and the evolutionary. And here's where we really get to the core thesis of the quantified soul and the dream of matter. It's that brain waves, what we see in the brain through the EEG, correlate with these mathematical sinusoidal mind waves. They don't cause or create the soul, they reflect it, which means something really cool. It means we can decode these patterns if we know what we're looking at. We can interpret the shadows cast on the wall of Plato's cave. And if we can do that, we can begin to assist the soul in evolving, in solving for itself, and in solving for all of us. The mind is a sea of waveforms, and so is the brain. Some thoughts resonate, others clash, some align, others loop endlessly in conflict. This is how the self forms, not as a static thing, but as a resonance pattern in constant flux. Mental health, trauma, awakening, integration. These aren't just emotional experiences, they're structural, happening in this interference pattern. When inner waveforms become radically incoherent, they can also begin acting as if they're separate minds. And this is what happens in something like dissociative identity disorder. We get multiple patterns that are too dissonant to sync, each forming a partial isolated self. But really, I'd suggest that mathematically, we're all on this spectrum. We're all an interference pattern of self-states, some that are probably more coherent than others, but all fragmented. And so we're all on this journey of integration. And integration doesn't come from suppression. It comes from alignment, from tuning, from bringing these sub-patterns into synthesis, into coherence. Now, here's where this interference pattern model scales out to the whole world. The external universe isn't a static environment. It's not a box in which things happen in. It's a shared field of interference, the combined output of every soul's signal, all tangled together. A single universal waveform recomposed into time and space. So, ontologically speaking, reality is a projection from this frequency domain into the domain of space and time. And that means your thoughts, your alignment, your resonance of your own interference pattern, your own self, your own psyche, they very much affect the shape of the world itself. And each monad, each mind, contains not the whole, but a structured relationship to every other mind, like a hologram. It's not a mirror exactly, but a map. Each of our minds contains relationships to every other mind. Michael Talbot's intuition was beautiful and powerful. The universe is very much holographic. But the source of the interference pattern isn't an external projector. It's us, together. All of our individual minds and the universe itself are shaped by the same laws. Wave interference, phase relationships, resonance structures. We don't each contain the entire universe within us, but we do contain a unique relationship to it. And that's what gives our experience depth, nuance, and individuation. Michael Talbot helped open the door, but I suggest ontological mathematics and modern neuroscience can help us walk through it. So what does this mean? It means that working on ourselves, it's not selfish. As we refine our signal, as we adjust our phase, when we become more coherent, we very much help reharmonize the entire field. Because we're not alone. Our signal is braided and woven into everybody else's. The world doesn't change through force. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If this resonated, if it stirred something, let's keep going. Subscribe, check out my Substack, and as always, keep tuning your own signal.